Steelers Nation. I've had some time. And by the way, I seen Still Dictates said, damn, that intro is fire. Still working on it, man. I've been horrible at getting things done with my schedule lately. But anyways. The Fiend says the intro's lit. What is going on, chat? First and foremost, let me address chat. Steel Twin says, Rutrow. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting first episode of the Kold Steel Show. And of course, I am your host, Kold Steel. It is going to be an interesting episode. We're going to be diving into some news. We're going to recap the Lions game. We're going to double down. I don't know if that's the right term, but we're going to talk about, for those who didn't see the video that I uploaded late last night, we're going to be talking about the men and Mason comparisons that I brought up because the fiance, she got home from work today and she said, hey, man, you need to pull out a calculator. And we did some calculations, some math. And I'm going to tell you right now off the bat, before I get into the chat here, we're talking a 6-yard difference. Now, the only issue is we're talking about an 8-game stretch with Ben and a 1-game stretch with Mason. So, I mean, for those who are in disagreement with what I've been saying about the two quarterbacks, there's your edge. Anyways, chat, let me know if everything sounds good. And let's see who we got. Of course, we got the Twins. We got the Fiend, as always. We got my boy Still Dictate. We got Kenny in the building. He says, let's go. And yeah, man, it is going to be an interesting night because so much stuff has transpired since yesterday, which the tie with the Lions is bad news enough. Fiend says everything is good. Everything is good. Let me go ahead and put this browser down so we can prepare for the news. And I'm pretty sure this has been talked about all day because it's not fresh. In fact, I'm just going to pull it up. Oh, man. Steelers, Minka Fitzpatrick tests positive for COVID-19. The Pittsburgh Steelers safety is the second player to test positive. And not to be the guy to bring up bad news, but usually in these situations where there's one, there's going to potentially be more. And we are literally witnessing the self-destruction of this team from many different angles. If it's not this particular situation, it's injuries. If it's not injuries, it's players not playing at their highest standards, which again, we will get into that as well. Kenny says, ouch. Yeah, it's not good, man. This is not good news. And when I saw it this morning, I do believe I was with the Twins at the time when this broke. Oh, man, it's just such a deflating thing, man. Like, we're going to lose Minka this weekend against the Chargers, as if things weren't already piled up on us. And I can't be the only one who feels like this tie is more of a loss. I know there's some out there that believe otherwise, but to each its own. One thing I'm learning very quickly is this fan base is split. I don't even think in half. I think it's split in many sections as far as opinions and which way you sway on all topics. But I think we all can agree that the Minka situation in particular is unfortunate. So there you go. There you go. Still Dictate says pain. Yeah, man. And I agree with your boy right there. He says we lost the game. That is kind of where I side. If I'm being completely honest, that's kind of where I side in this conversation in regards to the Lions. Kenny says Steel Maiden made a video about if Kevin Colbert should be held accountable. My reaction to that would be, I don't think Kevin should be held accountable. Unless, of course, Maiden's opinion or what he was trying to get across was that it's on him to draft or bring in the right personnel. Then in that sense, I do think we could do better, because I've been on record as saying that I don't think the Steelers did a good job bringing in personnel throughout the trade deadline. Or even in the offseason, I don't think we addressed all those positions that we need or needed to address. So if that was what he's referring to, then yes, I agree. But if he's referring to the Steelers' play, then obviously no. And we're going to get into that. That is one of the hot topics for today. We are going to be talking about who is to blame in the Steelers-Lions tie. And I think this is a good way to transition into that conversation. Your boy says the only games I can see us maybe winning is to hopefully sweep the Ravens and Browns, or hopefully beat the Bengals and the Vikings. Yeah, it's going to depend on so many different things. Even though I don't fully agree with this, any given Sunday does take play here. And the reason why I say I don't 100% agree with that saying is because sometimes you have situations like what we're witnessing here where the Steelers probably should have been in rebuild mode, let's be honest, for quite a bit now. I don't care what you think of Ben. The stats say otherwise. In fact, I know I said I was going to get into this Lions recap, but some of the dialogue that I've been seeing about Ben Roethlisberger in the last 24 hours in regards to Mason Rudolph has been absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, I made a video that clearly shows you guys that the two quarterbacks are very on par with each other in regards to performance. And the only other thing anyone could say to me is, yeah, there's an 8-game versus a 1-game difference. That is an argument you could potentially make there. But it goes into the what if category. You know, what if Mason played 8 games? How would his performance? What would the stats say? We don't know, and I don't think we'll ever know. But I can tell you this, and I want to make this clear. If I haven't made it clear, let me make this clear. Mason Rudolph, and even though I was on this fence since we drafted him, Mason Rudolph is not, I repeat, he is not the future of this team. He is a backup quarterback in the NFL. Maybe for some franchises that have not been very good over the years, maybe he could be a starter in those systems. But I don't think he's the starting quarterback or the right person to take over Ben Roethlisberger come next season. I wanted him to be. I want anyone that puts on that uniform to produce at a high level. But I do not think he is a franchise quarterback. Your boy says he is not the franchise quarterback, but the end of the game was not his fault. And that's really what I was trying to get across, because the argument, and I've seen so many guys that I respect in this whole media thing. I really don't know where to place us independent guys, but I mean, technically we're media. We're just not professional media. We don't have access to the things those guys get. But at the end of the day, we are broadcasting and we are giving our fan perspectives. And some of the guys within that category today and yesterday, last night, really disappointed me with some of the shit they were saying. I won't say names, but to say Ben Roethlisberger coming into that game in overtime, the outcome would have been different. Mason Rudolph, and I'm really getting tired of saying this, he led the team down the field twice in overtime. And in those two times, we had players that fumbled. And I had a guy today literally was like, well, he only led him to midfield. I mean, are you kidding me? He led him to midfield because the ball was fumbled. I don't care what you say. They were on pace to take this game and win it in overtime with Mason Rudolph, who did make mistakes and was throwing rainbow passes, as some people pointed out. But for some people out here, it's impossible to get your point across and show the facts and show the stats. They are stuck in their ways, and you will never be able to change that. People are living in the past in regards to Ben Roethlisberger. He has been our franchise quarterback for a very long time. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He will be in the Hall of Fame. But to think 2021 Ben Roethlisberger is what he was when Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell and all those guys were a part of this team, you are delusional. I mean, honestly, just reading the stuff I've seen on Twitter, some of the stuff that I read from other content creators or the videos they've been posting. I mean, I was chilling earlier watching Moats, his live stream that he did today. Shout out to Moats and Deke. And just seeing the comments and some of the phone calls that they got was just absolutely frustrating. Especially when no one is even remotely just talking about the opposite discussion that needs to be made here. We cannot continue to do what the Steelers have done for years, which is put Ben in a position that he is no longer capable of fulfilling. Don't believe me? Well, I really wanted to transition into the full recap, but the stats don't lie, folks. Ben's best game of the season, statistically, well, it depends. If you want to look at yardage, it came against the Cincinnati Bengals, 318 yards. And people were giving Mason Rudolph crap for throwing 50 times last night. Ben threw it 58 times against Cincinnati. And I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, those games earlier in this season, they were not utilizing Harris the way they are now. But if you look at the stats from 2021, I want to keep pointing that out because I'm sick and tired of people bringing up Ben's past career. I know what his career was. I know where he's heading after football. Yes, he won 2 Super Bowls, although you can argue that Super Bowl XL, he was absolutely awful. And my argument to that would also be he also had great defenses. And if you don't believe me, if you don't believe what I am saying, then explain to me why the Steelers did not win a Super Bowl with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, hell, Martavis Bryant at the time. That team was absolutely stacked. You know why we didn't win any Super Bowls with that era? It's because we did not have a defense. So yes, I am sorry if it offends you, but Ben Roethlisberger won 2 Super Bowls because of a great defense that he ultimately could lean on when he wasn't performing at his best. Yes, I actually quit my job and I skipped out on work to watch the Super Bowl when Ben threw the game-winning Super Bowl touchdown pass to Santonio Holmes. I saw it too. But it does not change the fact that those years that we won Super Bowl and even in between, we had great defenses. And honestly, last year kind of proves my point as well. You guys could argue that prior to injuries and the pandemic, we were on pace to become another Super Bowl team last year because we had a great defense. And then, of course, injuries happened, and we know the rest, and I don't even need to get into that. Local band says defense wins championships. That's right. That is the saying, and I honestly have always stuck by that and believe that 100%. Steel Dictate says, I disappointed you, and I reflected on the game past my initial reaction and realized you're ultimately right along with the Twins. Bro, I've had those moments too, though, where I don't want to look at things for what they really are. So you're not alone. But I want to make it clear again, what I've been saying and what I was saying during the watch party, I'm not saying Mason is better than Ben. In fact, I would say if you want to put a percentage, he is 6 to 10% worse than Ben Roethlisberger. Now, I don't have a way to pull a calculator up for you guys to see on screen at the moment. But all you got to do later after the stream, if you don't believe me, I want you to, and you can do this with any of these statistics here, take his yardage, for instance, though. Add all this up, 1,986 yards, and divide that by 8, and you will get an average that in comparison to just the one game that Mason has played, Ben has an average. In fact, let me pull up Mason quick here. He has an average of a 6-yard difference. 6 yards. When you add his average, 242 yards is what Mason had. And I understand, again, we're talking about an 8-week versus a 1-week difference. That does play a part, but again, that goes into the what if category. And I'm not playing that game. And I also had somebody say, their argument to me on Twitter today was, Ben's averaging more yards. Bro, right now, Ben is sitting at, and let me pull it back up just to be accurate here. Or is it not going to show? I believe it was 6.5 or something like that. In comparison to Mason, who currently is sitting at 4.8. You're bragging about 2 yards. If that is the hill you want to die on, go for it. Be my guest if that is the hill you want to die on. I will not challenge you anymore. If you want to say 2 yards is significant, by all means. But at the end of the day, to say Mason Rudolph is trash and to come out here and say things like, if Ben was in this game, it would have been different. I can't even listen. I've seen so many videos, so many tweets that I literally just either turned off or scrolled past. Because it is mind-boggling. Really is. Junior just makes another great point. Bradshaw had good defense as well. And to be clear, what I'm telling you guys is not a secret. Majority of football fans that watch the game and understand it to an extent know that defenses win championships. That has always been the truth. Even in last year's Super Bowl, The better defense won that game. You had two high-power offenses. It is always going to be true. Which is why, even though he could arguably be the GOAT, I think he's the GOAT, Tom Brady's comments about defenses and pretty much them chasing cars as dogs or whatever he said came off as completely ignorant to me, because defenses is what wins you a championship. The proof is out there, because if it was the opposite way, the Steelers should have multiple Super Bowl rings right now with the Killer B era. But let's get off this topic. Let's get into some more news before we do get into the recap, because I am skipping some stuff here. This is really not a big story. It really isn't. It is strictly because Ben could potentially be missing this week. At least that's what I've been reading. Steelers signed quarterback James Morgan to the practice squad. I think he was drafted last year. Yes, he was. Morgan is a 2024 round pick by the New York Jets. And he played at Bowling Green for 2 seasons. And then he played 2 at Florida International, where he threw for 8,654 yards, 65 touchdowns, and 34 interceptions. Oh, man. Please do not take this serious or look into this too much. It is literally depth because of the Big Ben situation. TJ Watt. This is actually some positive news. As you guys see, Steelers linebacker TJ Watt avoids serious knee and hip injury. Now, of course, I know everyone in chat knows this already, but here's my thoughts. I hope if TJ Watt is going to miss time, it is only for a game. As of now, I have no idea whether he's going to play against the Chargers, but there is a possibility that he could do so. The initial reports said that he was going to miss some time, but things have changed dramatically with the MRI, which came back negative. So this is absolutely good news, and it does give us a little bit of hope. But as you can see right here, Kevin Dotson is going to be out for a little bit. He is going to miss some time, and we were already thin at offensive line. And honestly, I'm starting to think, why haven't the Steelers called up David DeCastro? Regardless of what you feel about him, what is David DeCastro doing right now? Or even better, how about we get Banner involved in this offense? Considering he's on the roster and he's taking up some of that cap space. I honestly cannot understand why he is not being used. If I'm being completely real with you, it makes no sense. Junior says, I heard Minka got COVID. Yeah, that is true. He did, and he will be missing this game. And again, it's going to be a couple days before we know for sure. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is going to be a critical day for information with Mike Tomlin's press conference. And all of those things we will be breaking down on Friday, where we do episode 2 of the Kold Steel Show. If anything massive comes out, of course, I will do a quick video for you guys. As I promised, I am going to start pumping out more and more content on the channel. But let's go ahead, let's talk and give a full recap on yesterday and talk about a topic that I really want to get into. Who is to blame for this mess? This tie? It's not a secret, man. It is not a secret. Is it Mason Rudolph's fault? Damn sure as hell ain't Harris. We can cross his name off the list. Is it Deontay Johnson? Is it Ray McLeod? How about Pat Freiermuth? What about James Washington, who was pretty much obsolete since that first drive in the first quarter? What about Eric Ebron? Do we blame Eric Ebron for this loss? Do we blame Joe Schobert? Do we blame him for the injury on TJ Watt? What about Devin Baby Oil on my jersey Bush? AKA, I couldn't tackle you if I had glue on my gloves. What about Cam Hayward, who got disrespected this morning by Warren Sapp? AKA, I got coke in my nose. What about Minka? Do we blame Minka for this tie, which feels like a loss? Do we blame Minka for not making any sort of splash plays, although he did? He did get an interception in this game, but it did not count due to penalty. Danielle, what is going on? Welcome to the chat. How are you doing? That is a familiar face in the chat. Yeah, Junior, you pretty much spoiled it, man. It is the entire team. From players to coaching. Hell, you can blame everyone on the sideline. Waterboy, whatever. You know, I told Twins I would potentially go off the rails tonight. And that was early this morning. But the moral of the story of tonight's first episode of this show is I am going to choose to be respectful, because the shit that I've read in the last 24 hours regarding this team and what happened yesterday has been sickening. And I agree, Dictate, it is 100% a collective blame. There is no specific player. There is no specific situation. It is a complete and utter collapse. But here's the thing that no one's talking about. This should have not surprised any of us. And I'm kicking myself in the ass because for those who've watched this channel, specifically since the start of this season, not even talking about last season, just the beginning of this season, I think it was week 3. I started just putting it out there. I don't see a Super Bowl team. And I got backlash. And I'm going to be honest. I allowed people to sway my opinion of the team and gave me hope when I really should have just stuck to my guns. Because I could see clear as day what this team was doing. And what we've seen on the field so far this season, I haven't seen one game that impressed me. Not one. A win is a win, but I could care less because those wins did not impress me. They do not give me confidence that this team is going to make it far. I don't even think we're going to be able to snag a 7th seed. I just don't. And I'm starting to join that train because I saw that your boy said this was a trap game. I'm joining that train, bro. I don't believe in trap games anymore. I really don't. Because if that's true, then this entire season, you can look at every game on the schedule and say all of them are trap games. Because the wins that we did get were very, very just by a hair. There has not been one convincing win this season. And you know what else? It's okay. It is. It is okay for the Steelers to not be the best. I don't think anyone in this chat or anyone in Steelers Nation, anyone that's an actual fan, I'm not counting bandwagons and all that stuff. No one is jumping ship. I'm not going anywhere. God grant it. I'm not taking the thousands of dollars I invested in Steelers merchandise out of my home. I am not getting rid of this channel, even though I joked about it yesterday. I'm not taking these hats in front of me, the statues I got on the shelf. They're not going anywhere, and I don't think any of you are doing that either. Some of you, and it's not your fault, some of you were born into the Ben Roethlisberger era, so it's hard for you to understand what life is like as a Steelers fan without a winning quarterback. Yeah, Twins, that's a good point, too, that I need to bring up. It's really a shame that they haven't changed their game plan at all. And that, I try to stay away from that because I don't want to feel like I'm defending Mason. Because, again, I want to make this clear. Mason is not the future. He's just not. And the only reason I say that is because he is, again, 60% percentage worse than what Ben is. And that is not a good thing. Because Ben himself in 2021 has not been good. But there was no change to the game plan. And I get it. Partially, one of the reasons the game plan didn't change too much is because the team found out about Ben Roethlisberger's situation very late into the week. And from what I've read, Mason Rudolph was already preparing with the number ones. But I had a feeling after the first few drives, once we got to the second quarter, I said, and maybe somebody can find it in the live stream, but I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of, this feels like Ben's offense, like the offense they built for him, which is short yardage. And honest, I'm going to tell you now, that offense is not going to work. We are not going to win a Super Bowl with that offense. I don't know what they promised us with Canada, but what that is right there is not going to work. Defenses have figured that out weeks ago. Every defense, it doesn't matter if it's the 0-8 Lions. It doesn't matter. They all know to stack the box, and we have nowhere to throw it because we're afraid to throw it to the middle of the field. We are terrified to throw it to the middle of the field. Twins actually, I'm going to tell you guys now, when they do their preview for the Chargers game, I believe Bob is going to have some interesting screenshots to share with you guys. So stay tuned for that later this week. That's all I'm going to say. But they also have some opinions about this. Yeah, this, as your boy says, this system, this offense is not built for the quarterbacks that we have on the roster. These RPOs and stuff like that is not built for a guy like Ben. Now, yesterday we did see some mobile situations from Mason Rudolph, which kind of surprised me, if I'm being honest. But it sure as hell ain't built for Haskins. He's not that guy. He's a pocket passer. And I'm going to be honest, right now, I don't know what the solution is for this team going into next season. And I honestly don't want to even think about it. I'm kind of staying focused on now. Yeah, Daniel, he's just not. He's not the future, man. And I wanted to believe he was, but he's not. I was really hopeful that Mason could be that guy. I'm probably one of the few. I know I'm in a small percentage of people who owns a Mason Rudolph jersey. But that's how much I believed in that guy. It is what it is. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Your boy says at least Tomlin has a winning record. I mean, your face says it all there. And that is my face to that. E-Money says Rudolph so many 3-and-outs back to back. Well, Ben is the same way. That is what you guys aren't understanding. That is literally the point that I'm making here. It's not apples and oranges. It's oranges and oranges with Mason Rudolph and Ben Roethlisberger. Are we seriously going to sit here and pretend like Ben hasn't, for this entire season, had so many 3-and-out drives? I mean, are you guys going to do that, honestly? Are we that forgetful as fans? Do some people literally go week by week and forget everything that's happened? That's why during the live stream, I brought this stuff up, because I knew that this team offensively was doing that under Ben Roethlisberger. The stats are right there. All the stats. You guys can literally do your homework. Go back to Ben Roethlisberger in 2017 and compare it to now. He has obviously aged. And yeah, it is sad. We are witnessing one of the most frustrating things you could possibly live through as far as a sports fan. You know, I remember watching Jerome Bettis win a Super Bowl after Ben Roethlisberger promised him that he would lead the team there. And I think a lot of us had this pipe dream that the same could happen for Ben. But sometimes, as you guys know, that is just not the case. It is just not the case. King, what's going on? He says, and if we get any quarterback in the draft, we need Carson Strong. He's the best fit quarterback for the offense. Like I said, I'm not ready. I'm just not ready yet to really start diving into potential draft picks, although that will be a big portion of the offseason for this channel. And who knows, maybe by the end of the season, we'll start really diving into that stuff. But I will be paying attention to the upcoming draft. Not that it matters, because none of us in this chat, myself included, none of us can control this team. I think that was clear during last year's offseason, where we all had what we had in our minds as far as who the Steelers should pick. None of us had them picking tight end Pat Freiermuth. So, I guess they know better than us, but this season is honestly on life support. If that's as positive as I can be right now, if I'm being real with you. I wish it wasn't this way, but again, I want to go back to what I was saying, because I totally got off track. A lot of people were born into the Big Ben era, and they don't remember. They may have seen highlights and stuff like that, but they don't remember what it was like to watch a Tommy Maddox, a Cordell Stewart, Bobby Brister. I mean, so many guys. Neil O'Donnell. I lived through all that. The early 2000s was an absolute nightmare. The 2002 Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, my God. Heartbreaks. Seriously. So for some of you guys, I can understand the frustration. I can understand holding on to a guy like Ben, because he's been our franchise quarterback pretty much since I got out of high school. Not to show my age, but goddamn, I mean, I get it, man. And I'm with you, but I'm here to tell you that sometimes you got to walk through shit to get to where you want to be. And if that means us Steeler fans got to take one on the chin for a few years to get back into competitive football, then so be it. And as Attitude said, I'm a Steelers until the day I die. Yesterday was tough to watch. We had plenty of opportunities, but did nothing. But watch us beat the Chargers. You know what's funny? I actually said that to the Twins. No lie. And then, the parade will come out again. See, we told you the Steelers were going to be fine. Funo Land, am I saying that correctly? Thank you for subscribing to the channel. So, yeah, I blame the entire team for that tie yesterday. Not one player, not even Pat for the fumble, because he was not the only one to turn the ball over. We had quite a bit of players on the roster that did that yesterday. Let's pull this up. I lost respect for some creators. Again, I don't want to say names because I chose to be respectful. But look right here. The Steelers defense allowed 229 yards on the ground. For someone to come out and say, someone who has a huge following, for them to literally come out and have the nerve to say that the Steelers defense deserves some credit. Listen, I was one of those guys during the Browns playoff game last year who said that the offense put the Steelers defense in a bad position. That just was not the case today or yesterday. Not the case. Because this is not the first time this season where the Steelers defense allowed a running game to walk right all over us. This is not the 2020 Steelers defense that we remember last year where we went 11-0. Unfortunately, we lost too many guys, and some of the guys that are still on the team are taking steps back in their career because of age. It's no secret, Joe Hayden, as much as we love him in Steelers Nation, he will always be a Steeler in my book. But it's okay to admit that sometimes, no matter how much you love a player, do you guys realize way before this YouTube stuff, I remember when Troy Polamalu was going out the door and the Steelers forced him out. I remember, I think a year prior to that happening, it was the year before his last season with us. I was sitting watching a game with my uncle. Rest in peace. And I remember looking at him and I said, I think it's time for Troy to retire. It's no different in this situation with Ben. And even guys like Hayden, who clearly in some situations can't keep up with wide receivers. He's been getting burnt. E-Money says that was in the first half. Second half, Lions was getting stuffed. That's not true. We did stop some runs in the second half, but they were still running the ball all over us. Because you could pull up the live stream from yesterday and see some of the reactions I had, specifically when I got really pissed off. And it honestly does not matter. 229 yards. I said it again. Go look at the tape. When I brought the Twins on at halftime, I said, you watch. If they come out and run effectively in the second half, they're going to control the clock. That is just 101 football right there. 229 yards on the ground. You had three separate players who had great stats in this game. Godwin, unfortunately, was injured for that team, and he had 56 yards, his longest being 42. And then we allowed DeAndre Swift to come in and run for 130. And do I need to remind you of the Seahawks game? Fourth quarter, the Steelers stepped up in regards to stopping the run. As a former player, all I have to say is on to the Chargers. You're not wrong. That's why I said that this team at this point is going to have to play one team at a time, meaning focus on the week that you're on. Take everything off the schedule. Take everything off the schedule. You got to focus on now. If there is any hope for this team going forward, that is going to have to be the mentality. And Joe is not wrong, by the way. Joe Schobert. It is troubling for this guy to come out publicly and say that this team is not taking practice serious. That is a problem. And this is not the first time a player has come out and said things like that. Anybody remember James Harrison? There's been so many things over these last few years. And if there's one thing I know at this age that I'm at, when there is smoke, there is fire. You better believe it. I don't have a problem with what Joe said at all. I know some people do, but I don't. Yeah, E-Money, I can agree with you on that. He says the whole AFC has been a messed up. Everyone has been losing to everyone. That I do agree with. But I just don't see this team even grabbing a 7th seed. I hope I'm wrong. I love to be wrong on this channel, man. You think I want to be right? I don't. I want to be wrong about this team, and I've been saying that for weeks. But it's really hard to not agree with myself when I see stuff like this. This whole fantasy that the Steelers lose to teams they're not supposed to lose to. It's easy to fall into that. The reality is there's just so many things going wrong. Coaching, I don't know. But again, you got a guy like Joe coming out saying that this team is not taking practice serious. That is a problem. That is a problem. Steel Dictate says, put Anthony Miller back there. Well, I feel like guys like Anthony Miller, Banner, there has to be a reason why they're not being put into this game. I don't know what that reason is. I wish I did, because it would certainly help. Danielle says, I wish I watched the whole live stream. I was in Virginia. I was on my way home when I turned it on. That's all right. You can catch the next one. I will be live this Sunday night. Whether or not I get the Twins to come on again, we'll see. I do want to start getting more people that are subscribed to the KSN involved in these live streams, including this one. So if that is something you're interested in doing, definitely subscribe for $4.99 and you can join and call in. That is something I want to bring in future streams. Abel, what is going on, man? Abel was out there right next to me on Twitter in the heat of all the debates this morning. Says, man, I can't believe we are a mess right now. I feel sad wearing a jersey in public. Don't. Do not be ashamed to wear these colors, bro. Again, I understand this is not what we're used to. Not even myself, even though I've been alive and can remember all those games that I was referring to earlier in the 90s, the early 2000s. This is still hard to accept because we've had so many years of winning seasons, even though a lot of those ended in heartbreak. I mean, even going back to last year. But never be afraid to wear your Steelers jersey out in public, man. Because the reality is we are still one of the best, arguably the best organization that has ever existed. If it isn't because of all the Super Bowls we've won, if it isn't because of all the Hall of Famers we've produced, one thing's for sure, it is definitely because we have the best fan base. You know, I've seen so many people trashing our fan base, including our own, saying us Steelers fans are toxic. Hell, I think I've even said it a few times. But I'm here to tell you now, that is bullshit. We travel better than any other fan base. And yeah, we get frustrated during losses and ties like yesterday. But once we calm down and get level-headed, we're good. And I think that's the message that I really want to leave this live stream on before we get into chat. I'm not getting off yet. I want to talk to you guys in chat and hear what you got to say. But that is my thoughts on the Steelers and Lions. This is an entire team failure all around. I don't have any specific player to blame in this one. So, Bell says that is true. I definitely agree. Knock what is going on. He says, what's up, guys? At least you didn't get blown out. Yeah, at least we didn't get blown out. Trey says, does Kenny Pickett actually play against competition? Let's be honest. I want to know. You can make that argument. You really could. You got to remember, too, when it comes to college quarterbacks, it is always going to be a lottery no matter how good they are in college. So, we can get excited about potentially drafting a quarterback this year, which we all wanted last year. But the reality is, it doesn't always mean if we draft the greatest college football player that season or quarterback that season, that it means we're going to have a franchise quarterback. We have seen so many busts over the years. And then King just comes in here. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name. I'm just assuming it's King. But he says, here's a little football knowledge for those who don't know. This is not college or high school. If you don't start, that means you're not good enough. Stop saying put another guy in. He's not the answer. And that's why I also said none of us, unless you've played in the NFL, and I have met a few NFL guys over the years. And every one of those guys that I've spoken to, because I had a boss at Amazon when I worked at Amazon. Unfortunately, his career was cut short because of injuries. He was actually a lineman for the Bears. And they usually all have the same thing. They will tell you the NFL is a different world. Not just from what this guy's saying here in chat, but also just from how it's ran. It is, like he said, it is not college. It is not high school. It really is not. Steel Twin says, the thing that impresses me with Pickett is the massive progression in his 5th year and with no big name targets. You make that argument. But again, it is literally the lottery when it comes to drafting a quarterback. I've seen too many of those guys. Although I'm smart enough to know, too, there is a situation where guys get drafted in the wrong scheme, the wrong fit for them. Can't name one off the top of my head because there's not that many, but maybe somebody in chat can find one. Trey says Carl Joseph's starting because Minka's out. Like I said, Friday we'll break down the Chargers game. We'll get into the preview then. We'll talk about the injury updates and all that stuff. If any other big news comes up this week, I will, of course, make content on it. Josh Rosen. E-Money says Devin Bush hasn't been the same since last year. Well, sometimes injuries. I tore my meniscus many years ago. Sometimes with injuries, it's a psychological thing. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going on with Bush. But it could be. It could be a situation where he just doesn't feel as comfortable as he did prior to that injury. Not making excuses for him. I'm just saying it could potentially be one of the reasons that his performance has kind of dipped. It could be anything, honestly. Am I happy with his performance this season? No. But I remember when Bud Dupree was on the hot seat and everyone wanted him out of town. And then last year we saw what he did. And yes, I understand down there with the Titans, he hasn't been as good as what he was last season. But again, it's a different defense than what he had up here, next to TJ Watt. But my point is, even with Edmonds, the Twins hated Edmonds. Shout out to the Twins in the chat, man. They were not big fans of Edmonds, and I know there was a lot of other people that were not big fans of Edmonds, but look how that turned out. Now everyone feels differently about him. Point is, let's still give Bush time. He could just be having a bad season. Biggest quarterback bust of all time, Jamarcus Russell. Man, they said that guy was on the sideline doing all kind of stuff, drinking lean. And man, I tell you what, though, in college, man, he had an arm. He had one hell of an arm. It's really unfortunate what happened. And wasn't he, I think he was trying to get back into the league not too long ago. Maybe it was like 3 years ago. I don't know. Yeah, Trey, man, TJ's injury not being major, that is good news. That is, it could have went either way. I mean, yesterday we saw him after the injury. He was on the sideline walking. But even sometimes that doesn't really mean that the guy's going to be okay. So the get good news today is awesome. Trey says we could have had Fletcher Cox if Colbert gave up a third pick. Oh, man, I don't know. With his age and his career kind of going backwards, is a third round pick? Because we know how the Steelers draft, man. Is a third round pick that good? Or is it worth it, is what I'm trying to say, for Cox, who's on the pretty much the end of his career, or at least it feels that way. Maybe. Oh, man, Trey, I'm so glad. I was telling the Twins, I always forget shit when I do these live streams. I am glad you brought up Claypool. And I respectfully disagree. Claypool's presence was missed in the Lions game. What presence has Claypool had this season? Let's be honest. Let's just be honest about it, man. Love Claypool. I think he has a bright future, and I hope he's with the Steelers. But right now, it is just not working for him. I do think some of it has to do with this offensive scheme. I think a lot of our offensive issues is because of that, honestly. I don't know what the hell Canada's doing out there. I don't know if Tomlin has a lot to say. I wish I did, but something is just not working. Is it Savani? Am I pronouncing your name right? Savani? Says Bush reminds me in the first year, Shazier missed assignments, but you can tell once he got more in his playbook thing, or his playbook, things turned around, has to get more discipline. There's times on the field where he just looks like he's, as you said, like the missing assignments. He looks lost. He honestly does. But I'm still putting my money on the fact that the post injury could be playing some mental issues there. Being afraid of being re-injured, those kind of things. Yeah, we don't have a wide receiver number one right now. We truly do not. I actually said that during the live stream yesterday. This team does not have a number one, which is very worrisome. Steel Twin says, should the Steelers pick up Andrew Billings to help fill inside the defensive line? He is a free agent, and the Steelers liked him during the draft year. That is a good question. That is a very good question. Chat, what do you guys think? Is that something the Steelers should be exploring? Should we be looking into Andrew Billings? That is a very good question. Honestly, I say yes, because what do we have? First of all, what do we have to lose right now? Yeah, even Geno. Jeez, man, there is options out there. And I think any of those guys would be a lot more effective than what we have now. Because right now, we are being killed by the running games. Again, that's why I got this screen up. 229 yards on the ground against this defense. And Trey, I know, bro, that hurts me because I'm a big Tuitt fan. Tuitt is one of my favorite defensive players on this team. And I truly feel bad because I can and that's another thing me and the Twins were actually unintentionally talking about today. I can relate to it. I had a family member pass away in 2018, and to this day, it's still affecting me. So I can understand needing to step away from what he's doing because he's just not in the right headspace, which probably led him down a path where he may have gotten out of shape. I don't know if there's any truth to those stories, but regardless, it's unfortunate as a fan, but I understand. And I hope he's able to rejoin either the Steelers or get back into his NFL career at some point, because I think he is a very, very, very good player. And he is damn sure missed on this defensive line. Yeah, Kevin Dotson's going to miss some weeks. That's why I said earlier, do the Steelers give DeCastro a call? Do we look to see if maybe he's available? E-Money says, can you believe it? Johnson was crying about targets. Oh, man. I saw somebody else. Forgive me. I forgot who it was yesterday. Somebody mentioned that they feel like Johnson was a diva, which that is not a secret. Wide receivers in the NFL have had that stigma for a long time now. And I personally did not see anything. But if it is true, I mean, that is just asinine, considering everything. E-Money says Steelers just want to go young. Yeah. Yeah, Daniel, I'm telling you, I miss Tua too, man. I hope, I really hope he can overcome everything he's going through right now. Why did they cut Quincy Roche? I don't know. I really don't. And I think it's hurting us right now. Honestly. I'll never understand that. It's not the first time we've cut a player like that either. Yeah, Junior, that is another good point. Not seeing Spillane yesterday. His strongest suit is stopping the run. We all know that him in coverage is very suspect. But why he wasn't put on the field when one of his best traits is stopping the run is beyond me. I mean, again, it's not like the Lions came into the second half and that's when they started running the ball. They started that in the first half, especially in that second quarter. So halftime adjustments should have been made. And it's hard for me to believe that was even a discussion. Because Tomlin came out, and I understand it was last minute things going on with Ben. But Tomlin has came out on record and admitted that they changed nothing with the game plan. So, I mean, I don't understand. Because you can't convince me that this game plan isn't made or catered to Ben Roethlisberger at this late portion of his career. Hey, Chad, man, I saw you earlier in Moats' chat. That chat was rough. Reading the comments, that was rough. Hearing people just, again, talking about Ben, when statistically, when you look at everything and how Ben's performed this season, there is just not a big gap between the two quarterbacks. And how no one can see that is just, it blows my mind. I mean, that said, I don't think there's a solution. And if you had to hold my feet to the fire and ask me, well, which of the three quarterbacks are you going to go with? Well, obviously, I'm going to have to stick with Ben. He is the better of the three. But it is not a night and day situation with those three quarterbacks. Well, specifically Mason and Ben. I don't know about Haskins. Yeah, Trey, I haven't heard anything either as far as him complaining about targets. I don't know if there's much truth to that, but if that is true, I mean, wow. Abel says, Ben is not the answer. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. He's not. He's our best option for what we have right now. It is unfortunately time for him to hang it up. I agree, Daniel. I really do. And of course, when he retires, it's going to be emotional. I mean, we're not pretending like all these years didn't happen. All the success that he did have. But I think it's time for the Steelers to, it's time for us to start addressing the future. And that could take some time. And that's going to require us fans to stop throwing temper tantrums. Because I promise you this. I know it's entertaining to see what I did last week. Losing my mind, screaming like an animal. But going forward, I will not allow this team to get my emotions that out of control. I'm going to treat this team for what I see and what I know. I'm going to go into each game going forward not expecting much. On both sides of the ball, unfortunately, this season. For everybody in the chat, I have a question. Do you think, or what was the real reason for us to pick up Haskins? Because I said on draft day he won't make it far in the league. Maybe to kick the tires, man. Honestly. Just to kick the tires. I think Tomlin, he's actually said before too, that the Steelers don't normally get top 5 picks. So to have a guy like Haskins, who is a number 1 draft pick in this league, I think it was just to kick the tires. And also to fill, for depth. And I honestly think that's all that was. At least that's my opinion. I do want to see what chat thinks, though. Junior says, dude, you should hear me when I watch a Steelers game. Yeah, I get a little crazy, man. I do. Yesterday was a little... You guys got to peek into that world, man. I become extremely vulgar, man. I try not to be that way, but it just happens. I cannot sit and watch a football game and not have any emotion attached to it. Now, I know I said just now that going forward, I'm not going to let this team do that to me. But I can't make any promises that I won't go off. But I am going to try. I'm going to put an effort and just remind myself every day that I shouldn't put that much faith into this team. Not this season. Steel Twin says there will be people saying we're 5-3-1. Calm down. Of course, they're already saying that. You said the same thing when we complained about the team last year at 11-3, and look what happened. Not seeing much in this team right now, man. Pray that I'm wrong. And look, man, I never want to be the guy to say, I told you so. I really don't. I really don't. But Twins is right. I mean, that was kind of, and I wish I still had the website up. Because that's the thing with, I've been on here, I mean, I've been on YouTube since 2015, but I really don't consider the channel. I would say we started really getting into things in 2020 on this channel. But in these 2 years, I've tried to experiment. And what I did last year was I launched Steelers Country, which I will be using that domain again. I actually own Steelers Country, believe it or not. I don't know how I got it, but I got it. It's mine. But I made a website out of it, and I wrote an article. We were about to play the Washington football team. And Dan, I think that's what he's referring to. I could see the transition from being an undefeated team, because I want to be clear about something. 3 weeks prior to that Washington game, I started seeing patterns that I didn't like. And even though we won those games, I knew we were on our way out. Now, of course, we made the playoffs because we went 11-0, and we won a few games after that. But when that Browns game happened, you guys can go back. That's still on the channel. You can just see the reactions. I was very calm in that game, in comparison to the Twins, who absolutely lost their mind. So there you have it. I thought Josh Dobbs was deaf. We got 4 quarterbacks. I like Josh Dobbs. I really do. Obviously, I mean, he's very intelligent. He's a rocket scientist. But I will admit, and Twins will tell you this, I wasn't a big fan of his when we first brought him in. But for whatever reason, he has grown on me. And if he doesn't have a long NFL career in some capacity as a player, I definitely could see him becoming a coach, but I don't know if that would be his, I don't know if that would be in the cards for him. I think he obviously has the rocket scientist thing going. But I like Dobbs. I do. Savini says, I played against him in high school. Real athletic guy. Man, hope we keep him. Yeah, and that's one of his pluses, in addition to him just being very intelligent. Bell says we didn't win in a dominant way. Again, there's certain things in football you could just see patterns, man. Even in wins. Like, for instance, me personally, and maybe Savini, he says he played football. Maybe I'm wrong, but in my opinion, you can look at a game where we win, depending on the team that you're playing, and we could win just by a hair. And you could think to yourself, man, if we struggled like this against them, and we play a high-powered offense, I mean, you can kind of predict that game's not going to go too well. I mean, honestly. Like, does anyone in this chat think we can honestly beat the Chiefs with the way we performed against the 0-8 Lions? I don't know. Oh, man, Junior, that game was ugly. That was one of the worst. That's why I saw DK this morning put out a tweet about, can you even name a game worse than what we saw yesterday? Yeah, that playoff game. I don't know how anyone doesn't consider that one of the ugliest losses this team's ever took. Against the Cleveland Browns, man. In a playoff game where that season we went 11-0. Man, I don't know. I don't know how that's not considered one of the worst. Trey says elite professionals don't know how to tackle. We will beat the Chiefs if Pat Mahomes doesn't play well. Other than that, I have no idea. It's kind of weird to see how he's panned out this season. Honestly. Yeah, they say any given Sunday, right? That's why I made a joke this morning and I said, man, I'm stuffed up right now, by the way. This fucking weather in Pennsylvania sucks. Everyone in this house is just falling sick right now. It's wild because of the weather. It was 70 degrees last week in central PA. Unreal, man. Anyways, yeah, 60 minutes of ball. Anything could happen. But me personally, I just feel like that is a tall ladder, bro. Tall ladder. Not just them. I mean, even I believe the Ravens, and even that final Browns game is going to be a challenge. I truly do. Especially now that we've exposed this defense that we can't stop the run. Oh, boy. That is not good. Danielle says this weather is nuts in central PA. It really is. It's freezing today in Harrisburg. At least it was to me. The older I get, the more I'm starting to not like winter, man. I used to love winter. I don't know what's going on. TJ Black says the play calling needs to be more. We are to one side and play calling. This is why people want us to get Watson and Rodgers. I just want us to have Lamar Jackson on the Steelers. Twin says it's about to be 70 on Thursday. You've got to be kidding me. That is just wow. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Are you serious, man? 70 degrees, bro? Abel says global warming, man. I think there's some truth to that, if I'm being honest. Maybe 5-6 years ago, I wasn't a believer, but now I'm starting to say, something's up there. Something is up there. But, is there anything else that I missed? We talked about what? We talked about the Steelers bringing in James Morgan. We talked about Minka. Is there any other news out there that I've missed on this crazy Monday? Trey says the whole AFC North doesn't have a wide receiver one. Yeah, the AFC North is a wreck. I'm going to steal the Twins quote there. They said the average football conference. Yeah. Just absolutely crazy stuff, man. But yeah, I think that's going to be a wrap for today. Everybody that is in chat, do me a favor, hit the like button if you have not. Of course, turns out YouTube likes when you hit the like button. That's how they push the content out. It used to be different things, but now it seems to be engagement. So if everyone in chat and those who are not even in chat, if you're watching, definitely hit the like button for me. Again, it would definitely help. If you're not subscribed, consider doing so. This has been episode 1 of the Kold Steel Show. I know the name is not that impressive, but it's the best I came up with the short time that I had. I really wanted to start knocking out content. Why has my phone been going off? Is there any Steelers news? What the hell did I just do? What did I just do? Why the hell did that just pop up? Really? All right. I got to change that button, apparently. Let's see. Here's a question. Would you guys like to see me start doing film breakdown? What if I told you, and I could care less about copyright. I think on those videos, I would just not make them monetized. By the way, super chats are open. I don't normally plug that. Everyone's saying I need to start being more pushy. I need to start being more pushy, apparently. So yeah, super chats are on if you want to help support the channel. Obviously, I would be grateful for that. But if you guys want to see film breakdown, I would love to start doing that. Now, I'm not going to get on here and tell you guys that I am the greatest analysis of all time. I'm not. But one thing that I think I have that no one else does at the moment, and I'm sure they could get it, but maybe they haven't thought of it. I have the ability to actually draw on the screen. Of course, I got to still figure out how to get that set up and working properly with OBS and stuff. But with me being a graphic designer, I have a lot of equipment around here. And it dawned on me, I was like, man, I can actually do game film because I have access to the NFL.com subscription service that they have over there. And I could literally draw on videos and stuff like they do on those professional NFL shows. So maybe that's something I start including in future episodes. We do some film breakdown and everyone gets involved in it. I think that would be dope. And maybe, yeah, Savannah here, maybe he could help. Being a former player and all. I think that would be awesome. And yes, Vance, I will be taking calls. The problem is my schedule, because I have 2 kids and they're homeschooled currently. because of obvious reasons. They are homeschooled, and I'm in charge of doing all that. And with that getting in the way, I didn't have a chance to set up the Discord. I want to make the Discord public for everybody. We're going to take the whole Steelers country thing. We're going to call it Steelers country. I thought about starting my own website. People called me a dinosaur for it. They said, just use Discord. I said, fine. You know what? You want me to rely on third parties that could shut us down at any moment? Fine, you got it. We'll do that. So eventually, SteelersCountry.com will forward you to the Discord. Long story short, though, those who subscribe as KSN members, there's a blue button below next to the subscribe button. If you join that, there's going to, in the future, by future, it could be this week or next week, I don't know. I need to get on it. Your boy says I want into the Discord. I know, I need to set it up. Maybe, let me see if I actually do have it up. No, don't switch. Do not do that. Oh, man. How do I make this? Let me see if this will work. You guys can let me know if this works or not. Yeah, it will be paid. It's like I said, it's $4.99 a month, and of course YouTube gets half of that, so, or a portion. I don't know what the exact number is, but. And the only reason I'm going to put that behind a paywall is for obvious reasons. I don't want every single person calling in, because then we get trolls and stuff like that, and that would just derail everything. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a queue, and those who are first in line, obviously I will make sure that people aren't repeating in that situation, but it'll be a queue thing, and we'll have call-ins hopefully this week, this upcoming Sunday, or even this Friday, honestly. I mean, it is Monday. The next show is going to be Friday night at 7 p.m. We'll be doing episode 2 of the Kold Steel Show. But let me know if that Discord's working. I can't talk, man. What the hell? Let me know if it's working. And I'm going to go ahead and get everything cleaned up in there. Your boy says it worked. There we go. So there's the Discord link. Again, in the future, SteelersCountry.com will be the way that you access it. And I'm going to be getting that set up hopefully tomorrow. But those who subscribe to the KSN membership will have access to call in during shows. Yeah, is the Rams playing right now? Let me look that up. Man, how the hell did I forget about Monday Night Football? That's another question. Would you guys like me to do live streams on other teams? I see other channels doing that. Is that a thing that people enjoy? I personally wanted to keep this channel, strictly Steelers, but other channels seem to be succeeding by doing that, so I don't know. You guys let me know either in the chat here before we get off here, or you can just go to the Discord and let me know there. Maybe I'll do a poll. That's a great idea. I'll do a poll in the community tab. Yeah, man, I'm glad. This is good timing getting off. It's the first quarter. And Odell is going to be debuting. Should be interesting. But again, the Discord link is there. And of course, I have to plug this. I told the Twins we need to do a better job. If I can pull this up. Seems like our servers have been very, very slow over at Steel Yinzers. And again, I know plugging this right now is probably not the smartest thing, because we're going to be doing a Black Friday sale. SteelYinzers.com. The link is in the description. This is myself and the Twins' official merch shop. And eventually we're going to be getting more stuff. I temporarily took down the Kold Steel hoodies. I'm going to be actually trying a different hoodie than these heavy Gildans. So I'll try to get that up this week. But we have merchandise on here. We got mugs. We just added some flags. And of course, we got the Move t-shirt, which I'm pretty sure some people don't care about right now because of that fumble. But There it is, man. SteelYinzers.com. Link in the description. Aaron Donald and Vaughn. I hate the Rams, bro. Yeah, they're considering them a power team, but we know how that goes. We all know how that goes. I always go back to the Philadelphia Eagles when they had Owens and Donovan McNabb and those guys. I remember the Super Eagles is what they called them. Doesn't always pan out. Does not always pan out. Also, should have mentioned this as well. On Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter. Believe it or not, Twitter has allowed me to actually tweet. And it appears people are starting to see some of these tweets. So you can follow me on Twitter at Kold Steel 412. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, I am pretty active on there. But I will warn you, sometimes I will say some shit that'll probably piss you off if I don't do it on here. But definitely give me a follow over there. I'm trying to build the Twitter up, man. I need to have some sort of social presence. Because right now I'm getting my ass kicked in that department. But I think I hit every part that I wanted to hit tonight. Topic-wise. Yeah. So hopefully, this Friday I'll have some people call in. It'll make it even more entertaining. Maybe we'll get the Twins to call in from UPS. That would be nuts. I'm sure they wouldn't mind breaking some rules. That said, I think I'm going to get on out of here, man. We have been live for, wow, it feels longer. Only an hour and 34 minutes. So these shows really aren't going to have any kind of strict timeline. We could go an hour. We could go 3-4 hours. I don't know. I think once we get people calling in, it's really going to make these things nice and long. Your boy says, can we voice chat on Discord? There will be a public voice chat. As far as the call-in portion, that will be only for KSN members. But I'm going to be restructuring Discord tomorrow. Right now, it's a mess because it's still tied to the whole Just Blaze name that I was running with. A lot of things are messed up. But going to get everything situated over on Discord and get it cleaned up. But I will make a voice chat for everyone to go in and just kind of talk about the Steelers. Abel says, I want to super chat, but it won't let me. Yeah, YouTube's kind of like, depending on what kind of card you're using, they're kind of weird about that. So that's probably what's happening there. But, got a message on Twitter, man. The Twins said a banger stream. Hey, I appreciate it, bro. Shit, where did it go? I want to send you guys this link one more time for those who may have missed it. And yes, there is going to be, there will be strict rules. There will definitely be strict rules. And it's very simple rules, man. Just don't be stupid. Don't post dumb shit. Because I don't have patience for it. I will not warn you. I will ban your ass. It's as simple as that. Just be respectful. Don't use racist crap. Don't say stupid shit. Don't talk about politics. Keep it all Steelers, man. That's the problem with Twitter right now. There's just too much noise. But again, I got to go through there and clean things up. I have not really used it. And maybe I can talk to GT and see if we can get him back on board. He's been kind of MIA with him moving down to Florida. Bell says, following the Discord. Let's go, man. Let's get this thing built up. Another thing, if you guys have time to start, I guess, sharing these videos on Twitter to see if it helps. Again, I want to continue to grow this channel, man. And yeah, we got 21 likes. Let's go. I'll take it. I will take it. Especially for this being episode 1. We're only going to get better. And shout out to every single person who tuned in tonight. I would consider this a success that we can continue to build on. Yeah, only watch the streams for Pittsburgh Info, Kold Steel, Steel Twins, and Moats. Yeah, I like Moats. I don't always agree with everything. Obviously, Deke. I think Deke is going a little extreme with the Ben Roethlisberger love fest. But I can respect it. But I will say, man, sometimes Deke, man, bro, did y'all see the tweet he put out too? The 13-inch. I'm not going to say the rest. This guy's wild, man. But shout out to Deke, shout out to Moats, man. I've been a subscriber over there for a while. Your boy says dubs only. Dubs only. Man, I didn't know Moats was smoking trees, man. That's crazy. That makes sense now. A couple months back, I think I was in the chat and he saw my name Just Blaze and they made a big joke out of it. I didn't get it then. And what the hell just fell? Really? Really, bro? My phone just dropped. But yeah, I didn't know my boy was out there smoking trees, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. But anyways, man, I'm prolonging the outro here. Let's get on out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in on this beautiful Monday, even though the Steelers tied with the 0-8 Lions, but I digress. Make sure you guys join the Discord. And I will see you guys Friday, unless something crazy happens this week and I got to do another video. But if not, I will see you Friday night at 7 p.m. for episode 2 of the Kold Steel Show. You guys take care of yourself and go Steelers.